How's it going, Dolphins? It's your boy Dillon again, and I'm here with you today with a Dolphins with Dillon quick hit. So, first off, I'd like to say today is the day that rookies report to training camp. So, training camp is more or less underway. It's just beginning. The veterans get to camp next week, next Wednesday, I believe it is, the 25th. And then it'll be into full swing beginning of next month. Early next month is our first preseason game, and then August 9th, September 9th is our first game. It's a home game against the Tennessee Titans, and I'm really excited for all that. Also, if you haven't seen it, there's a video by Duncan J Films. It's Miami Dolphins Infinity War official trailer. So he took the Infinity War audio from the trailer and he made it into a Dolphins video, and it's pretty sick. You should check it out if you haven't seen it. It's great. Anyway, so I found this article on NFL.com. Found it on my NFL app on my phone, but it's from NFL.com, and the article reads, Tannehill time, 5 reasons the Dolphins will reach the 2018 playoffs. So real quick, like I said in my video yesterday, it's funny because the closer and closer we get to training camp and everything and the regular season, I'm hearing more and more people say good things about. There's still ample shit talking, there's still more than enough haters and doubters, and I love it, man, because I can't wait until the squad proves everybody wrong. But there's been more positive talk about the Dolphins recently. Anyway, so getting into this, let's see, here we go. Adam Gase's first 2 seasons in Miami were rather interesting. Made the playoffs as a rookie head coach in 2016. I know a lot of Bears fans were left howling about their former offensive coordinator. Why didn't we keep this guy and let John Fox walk out the door? That should have been us. The second year wasn't as great. Brian Tannehill was lost to ACL surgery in the preseason, and the Dolphins spiraled. Jay Cutler was brought in to rescue the team, and you could sum that move up right here. They show a little, there's a Twitter post with an image of a Wildcat play we ran last year where Jay Cutler's just standing there with his hands on his hips. I'm sure you all remember it. And the post caption says, Jay Cutler didn't care about looking convincing in the Wildcat, and it was amazing. So yeah, clearly, I mean, if that was Tannehill, he'd actually be a legit weapon to go catch the ball. Because remember, he was a receiver for a couple years at Texas A&M. Bears fans saw this and said, I'm so glad we didn't keep. Just kidding. We still love him more than Fox. And besides, Cutler's positioning there was all by design, according to Gase. So what's up for year 3? The team got rid of some high-priced talent like Ndamukong Suh and Jarvis Landry. Those are the kinds of moves that get the fan base irritated. Frankly, real quick before I continue on, I want to say that I wasn't so much irritated as I was disappointed. But the more I've, thought about it and so on and so forth, I realized that it was actually necessary and, good moves. So, but then a couple of weeks into the season, the fans will be thinking to themselves, why did we hang on to them for so long? Kind of like the futon you kept after college. I don't know if it was nostalgia or what that compelled you to keep it, but once it was out of your life, you were better off. The same will be true of the Dolphins, who could be a surprise playoff contender. Here are 5 reasons why. Number 1, Ryan Tannehill thrives post-injury. Tannehill is never going to be the quarterback who thrills the fantasy dorks among us. I disagree with that. I think he is going to emerge as an elite quarterback. But, continuing on. I passed on him in a super flex league where you can start 2 quarterbacks. Could that have been a miscalculation on my part? Yup. Tannehill has a career passer rating of 86.5. Not bad. His passer rating was 93.5 in his first season with Gase. which was better. And remember, he wasn't at work last year, so it's not like he could be blamed for that debacle. Though I feel like people still try to do that, and indeed they do. Somehow last year is Tannehill's fault. But here's my thing. Tannehill is a good quarterback. My favorite memory of Tannehill came during the Dolphins' upset of the Steelers at home in 2016. I thought this was one of his best games, and it absolutely was. I mean, when he escaped the sack, and then rolled out to his left, and then found Marquise Gray, way downfield, threw the ball on a run, being chased by a defender, I think it was 30 or 40 yards downfield, connects with Marquise Gray, almost got a touchdown. It was beautiful. I mean, and that just shows you, the dude's amazing, and he's really good from the pocket. He's gotten so much better from the pocket over the past few years, but he's at his best. Some of his best throws are definitely when he's on the run. That's why in 16, Pro Football Focus has him as, I think it was the second best quarterback against the blitz, right? He was either second best or best. No, I think he was best against the blitz, and then it was second best. Hold on, I have to find this now. Give me just 2 seconds. Where is it? Right. He was best in plays against the blitz, and then he was second best and highest big-time throw percentage, according to Pro Football Focus, in 16. Second to Tom Brady. So, everybody who talks shit about Tannehill and says he's not a good quarterback is ridiculous. There's all the proof and evidence to say that there is. And the reason there's all the proof and evidence as to why he, has the record as a starting quarterback that he does, and it's not his fault. Anyway, here we go. Where was I? He didn't throw a touchdown pass, so I know this seems weird, but he made a lot of plays that kept the Dolphins' offense moving that day, like the one I talked about. Obviously, many will remember Jay Ajayi running for what I believe was 783 yards in the game. Editor's note, it was 204. But this guy likes to be witty, apparently. He makes a lot of jokes. But Tannehill was in command. He threw the ball 32 times and completed 75% of his chances. Moved well in the pocket. The thing about Tannehill is that he's the kind of quarterback you can win with, because he does some things well. Don't listen to the people who will flame me on Twitter with Tannehill slander. Number 2. This is the year for Devontae Parker. Ha ha ha, just kidding. But he puts it in there because he feels secretly that it will be. The real number 2. Frank Gore continues to do what he does. My daughter is 3 right now. Unless you work at Disneyland, then she's totally 2, and you can please continue to let her in for free. I look forward to a time 15 years from now when I get to tell her what it was like to watch Frank Gore play in the NFL. And then she's going to say, I know, Dad, he's still playing in the league right now. In fact, he just rushed for 1,000 yards last season. I jest. Barely. Gore is back in Miami where he played collegiately. It's kind of a pity he's not getting the back-home narrative treatment some running backs would get. Looking at you, Jerome Bettis. Did you know Bettis is from Detroit and his last game was a Super Bowl in Detroit? Nevertheless, Gore joins a talented backfield that includes Kenyon Drake, whom everyone wants to overdraft in fantasy. Don't. This next part's not totally true. Gore is going to be the number 2 for sure. We should know by now that Gore, who has posted 960 rushing yards for more for 7 straight seasons and in 11 of his 13 NFL campaigns, with 9 1,000-yard seasons to his name, is going to end up being the lead back. That's not true. He's going to get plenty of time, but he's not going to be the lead back, officially or unofficially. He's going to get a grand rushing the football. So this dude thinks that Frank Gore is going to get 1,000 yards, which would be great. But if that happens, then that means we're going to have 2 1,000-yard running backs, because Drake is going to be the lead back, and he's for sure going to get 1,000 yards this year. Damn it, I keep doing it. There needs to be some improvement on the offensive line, though. Pro Football Focus has the unit ranked 20th in the league, which isn't bad, but it could also improve if new addition Josh Sitton can remain injury-free. Mike Pouncey is gone, but he had a down year. Daniel Kilgore is the new starting center. Wait a minute, the Dolphins' starting running back is Gore, but the center is Kilgore. Like, his blocking is going to kill Gore? Am I the only one worried about that? I am? Oh, good. This dude's kind of a fool, but it's a little funny. Number 3, Robert Quinn and Burt Wilson are adequate replacements. It's been a long time since Robert Quinn, who was acquired in a trade with the Rams in March, had 19 sacks in 2013. Breaking Bad was still on the air, although I think it's still on Netflix, so does it really ever go away? He had a nice stretch from Week 10 through Week 13 last season in Los Angeles, during which he collected 6 of his 8.5 sacks and generally made life miserable for opposing quarterbacks. But that's the type of rhetoric that gets general managers fired. The on-pace people who like to take a small sample size and think it speaks for the whole season. When GMs do that, I tune them out like my comic friends who like to talk about their showcase auditions. Still, a return to form from the defensive end would help blunt the impact of losing Sue up front. My guy Burt Wilson, a former Chiefs receiver who signed with the Dolphins in March, Albert Wilson to be clear, is another one of those players who has played masterfully in stretches. And you start thinking to yourself, this guy would be amazing if they would just give him his own gig. I feel adamantly about that. In fact, the last time I was this adamant, I had just watched Bill Hader in Adventureland and thought he should have his own starring vehicle. And guess what? He was just nominated for an Emmy for Barry. So sometimes there are happy endings here, and maybe Wilson and fellow signee Danny Amendola can follow suit in filling the pass-catching void left by the trade of Landry. No sweat. They got that. 4. Xavier Howard emerges as a star in the secondary. I'll make a bold prediction and say Howard is going to be the next great cornerback. He was ranked the 6th best cornerback in the NFL in a study by Matt Harmon using next-gen stats. I know 6th doesn't seem all that impressive, but when you look at the list of names ahead of him, A.J. Boye, Chris Harris, Marcus Peters, Marshawn Lattimore, and Jalen Ramsey, you're like, damn, that's a pretty good shortlist to be part of. Like, hey, it's just an honor to get nominated. That is a pretty good shortlist to be part of. And he's definitely going to improve this year and be our number 1 shutdown corner. Our secondary is going to be sick. If you're not familiar with Howard, you can go ahead and check out this dominant performance against Brandon Cooks on Monday Night Football last season. Cooks was targeted 6 times when covered by Howard. There were just 2 completions, and both of them went to Howard. It's the kind of breakout performance that gets people talking about you, and it's clear the strength of the team is going to be in the secondary. This is probably why Miami was so willing to part with some of its high-priced assets up front, like Sue, knowing full well the back end was going to be protected by Howard. Number 5, and so does Minkah Fitzpatrick. Providing some extra punch in the secondary is Fitzpatrick, a top 10 talent who fell to Miami at number 11 overall in the 2018 NFL Draft, with so many quarterbacks flying off the board. In fact, we'll never know if the Dolphins would have selected Josh Rosen had the Cardinals not nabbed him with the pick prior. No, we wouldn't. No matter, Miami has Fitzpatrick now. They would have taken Fitzpatrick just the same. And one of the weaknesses from last year, the Dolphins allowed opposing quarterbacks to post a 94.8 passer rating, one of the highest marks in the league, will become the strength of this team. And it's not just Howard and Fitzpatrick. Cordray Tankersley, Tony Lippett, when he returns from a torn Achilles. He's back. He's just got to get 100%. Bobby McCain, Rashad Jones, and T.J. McDonald will all do their part. So it's not totally outlandish to believe Gase can lead the Dolphins back to the playoffs in year 3. Outlandish would be saying that Jay Cutler would become a reality TV star, and wait, that actually happened. So this bodes well for you. Yeah. So, there we go. That's the little blurb that was from an Adam Rank. That's his name, right? Adam Rank of NFL.com. Yep. And, I mean, I totally agree with everything he said. It's going to be a great year, and training camp has begun. So, that's the end of this quick hit. If you guys liked it, share it, post it, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys soon.